Guys, welcome back. You're listening to the Wire to Wire podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Smethurst. Today, we're obviously going to hop into the biggest news story of the day, Cam Newton to the New England Patriots, my team. So, I'm going to give you my take on it and what I think is going to happen and how this is going to affect both sides. And, the end all be all of it all. And then we're going to get into heavy UFC 251. I will give you my fight picks. I'm usually about around 75%. I'm pretty good. I had, a bad card early, but most recently, I'm pretty good at making these fight picks, especially the main card. I'm like over 80% on the main card. So I will break down the main card for you. I will give you my fight picks. It's a fantastic main card for UFC 251. And then and I will also touch on some MLB news and some NBA news. Obviously, we all know what's going on. The news cycle has been a little slow on it as of late. It's just kind of been repetitive, but uh, one of these sports is taking steps forward and really taking strides towards starting the season. And I will break that down and kind of give you some news there, okay? But without further ado, let's hop into the biggest story that broke yesterday afternoon. Cam Newton to the New England Patriots on a 1 year deal. It's highly incentivized. It's very low risk, high reward for the New England Patriots. Because they're not paying him much unless he plays well, and then it benefits both sides. Cam Newton makes more money if he plays well, and the Patriots hopefully get more W's. I'm not a fan. Let me start this all off. I've heard this from many football fans and Patriots fans, and I've talked to other football fans and a couple like with chronically bad teams who are always bad. And, and I've heard this a lot, and I want to address it real quick. I've talked to people and they said, well, if they get Cam Newton and he plays well and they do well, then they won't get a good draft pick. And that kind of, you won't get the, tank for Lawrence or Justin Fields, and you won't have the quarterback of your future. Well, here's the thing. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not into tanking. Like, I'm not into maybe it's just because I've been a Patriots fan for over 20 years now, and I've seen him miss the playoffs twice, and I've been extremely lucky. Let's preface that by saying I'm an extremely lucky fan. In my life as a sports fan, I've seen 6 Super Bowl wins and a couple losses, obviously, 3 losses. I've seen 3 World Series championships out of my San Francisco Giants that I'm extremely proud of and happy to be a fan of them. And I've seen 5 NBA championships out of the LA Lakers. And these are, say what you want. I've been a fan for, you know, I've established all my teams by the time I was 5 years old, and I've stuck with them ever since. And I've been extremely lucky to see a lot of championships. I've never been into tanking. I don't think it works. I'll be honest with you. I think you can go back to the 76ers, trust the process. Where's your championship in the process? Because you don't have one recently. If you want to go to football, the Jacksonville Jaguars have been bad for many years, and they are still bad. They're in, again, tanking for Lawrence now, and I don't see how that's positive. Like, why do I want to look towards draft picks? I'd rather my team pick up a Cam Newton, win some games, and then me miss out on Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. To be honest with you, that's just me as a fan. Uh, I always want the Patriots to win. I always want the Giants to win, even though they suck. I always want the Lakers to win. Even though I'm kind of a more well versed basketball fan now, I'm not so hard on the Lakers, but I am a big Patriots fan, a diehard Patriots fan, and a diehard Giants fan. So watching the Giants hurts my soul, and watching the Patriots last year was very frustrating. But I'm not into tanking, so let's get that out of the way, okay? Let's get back into this Cam Newton. Let's stay focused, all right? Cam Newton. Uh, let's see the positives that he gives the Patriots. More mobile, which Bill Belichick's wanted since Garoppolo, obviously. More mobile, can move the pocket around when he's healthy. This is all when he's healthy, okay? Obviously, injury bug, plantar fasciitis, bad shoulder. If he's as healthy as he says he is, and he is as good to go as he says he is, he moves the pocket around. uh, which allows for more time for the uh, wide receivers of the New England Patriots that struggle to get separation, allows them more time to separate. It is so hard to cover wide receivers in today's NFL. So the more time you can give them to get open, the more realistically they will get open, especially with a guy like Julian Edelman. I know he's aging, but you give him more time, he still gets open. Um, so he'll move the pocket around, give his wide receivers more time. I think with the under the tutelage of a Josh McDaniels, you will see him succeed. You will see if I think Josh McDaniels is obviously going to look at that, look at what he's got at quarterback now, and notice he doesn't have a Tom Brady, a guy who is one of the best at the line of scrimmage before snap quarterbacks of all time. He doesn't have that anymore. Cam Newton is smart, and he does make adjustments at the line, but he's not Tom Brady. Let's be honest here. But what he gives you is he's he's mobile. So I think you're going to see an offense that is built around getting Cam Newton out of the pocket, giving him more time to make adjustments. Uh, New England, in my opinion, has better pass protection than a Carolina, and obviously, with Cam going to New England, he loses Christian McCaffrey, which one of the best all-around football players in the league, and one of the most well-versed football players of all time, in my opinion, in Christian McCaffrey. He loses that. But to go along with that, you come over to New England, you're gonna have better pass protection. He's not gonna see the dirt as much. He won't hit the turf as much. He won't get hit as much, and I think that's gonna benefit Cam Newton. Because you've seen it especially when he was hurt and he couldn't move, when he was stuck in the pocket and he started taking hits, he started getting happy feet, he started sailing his throws, started missing wide receivers. So I think the Patriots will protect him, and they will get an offense that goes to him, fits him better. There will be adjustments made. I think they're gonna shrink the playbook because they're gonna have to make so many adjustments. They're shrinking the playbook for everybody. It will be simpler just because they don't have a quarterback that's been in the system for 20 years. So it's going to be a new system. It's going to be a smaller playbook. Cam Newton's going to be able to use his athleticism more. And I think they're going to run the ball more. Isaiah Wynn at left tackle comes back. He was hurt most of last year. He came in towards the end. And, as a rookie with no practice time, that's a big struggle, man. That's just so much to deal with. And Sony Michel, I think will I think they're going to run the ball more. I think with the improvements at offensive line, you're going to see the run game come back to what it was in Sony Michel's rookie year, which will be great. You're going to see what N'Keal Harry will be able to do. Obviously, he missed the first 8 games last year, and when he came back, not a lot of practice time, struggled. So I think with a full camp, all these guys stay healthy, they will be I think it'll be something to definitely look at. I think the offense is going to be a little bit better than last year, just because of the fact that you can move the pocket around more for these guys to get guys on the outside a little bit more time to separate, and that'll open up the run game. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think the New England Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not that naive at all. I think the New England Patriots will be. I think they'll be good. I'm seeing like 10-6, fighting for the division. Because if you look at the division, it's still not great. I mean, yeah, the Dolphins got Tua Tagovailoa, which is great for them. That's the QB of their future. I think they're going to start the year with Fitzpatrick. They've got, Flores is a great coach who all the players play their hearts out for, so that's good. But they're still not on the level of the Patriots. They don't, I think Bill's still going to be able to outcoach a lot of that division. Then you go to New York Jets, and I'm not a Sam Darnold fan in any sense of the word. I don't think he's that good. I didn't think he was that good at USC, and I don't think he's that good in New York, to be honest with you. And I get it. When he's healthy, they play better. But at the end of the day, I don't see them really being a threat to the New England Patriots. I think Bill will still be able to outcoach the Jets and design a defense to really just jack up Sam Darnold. He makes a lot of mistakes, and that's not something you can do against the defensive mind of Bill Belichick. So I think they're going to struggle. And the only threat, in my opinion, in the division, and I think they're going to win the division, to be honest with you, is the Bills. Um, they just got more talent. They have a lot more talent. And I think Josh Allen has made steps every year and gotten better. I know he struggles with accuracy every once in a while, but he's athletic. He's got a rocket arm. He's a winner. He's proven it, and he's made plays to make the Bills a very good team. And I think it's not going to be any different this year. I think he's going to take steps forward again and become a better quarterback again, and make improvements. And I think the Bills will take the division. So now the New England Patriots will be fighting for a wild card spot. But I don't think they're gonna be bad by any sense of the mean. I think you'd be totally missing or just not paying attention or looking at the situation if you don't think Cam Newton is an improvement over Stidham. I mean, he obviously is. He's got the talent. We've seen him. When he's healthy, he's good. And I think if you get a good quarterback with the New England Patriots, they're going to be good. Like, the defense is still going to be one of the top defense, top 10 in my opinion. I know they lost a lot of people, but they replenished in the draft. And I think, if there's one thing, Belichick can draft defense. And I think he's going to hit on a couple of these players again in this draft and be good. So I think with a top defense and some good play out of Cam Newton, and if he stays healthy and the offensive line protects him, like the New England Patriots have always done, they've always protected the quarterback. That's always been an emphasis. Wow. It's always been a big part of Bill Belichick is protecting his quarterback. So I don't think that's going to be any different. I think they're going to protect Cam Newton, and he's going to play good, and the Patriots are going to be good. I don't think they win the division, though. I think they make a wild card spot and make the playoffs again. But early bounce. They're not winning the Super Bowl. It's just not going to happen. But I always enjoy watching Patriots play good football, and I think that's going to happen again this year. I think this is an improvement at quarterback, which is good. But you lack so many weapons on the outside. Obviously we don't know the full extent of Harry. He's a great red zone threat. He did have a few touchdowns last year. And Julian Edelman still gets open. He is aging, but he still gets open. But who else you got? You got no one at tight end. Absolutely nobody. So they will struggle 100% on the offense. It won't be the greatest looking offense. They're not the greatest show on turf by any stretch of the imagination. But it isn't a big improvement. And I think with the contract they signed Cam Newton for, and they were the only team to reach out to offer Cam Newton a actual deal, and he took it. I think it's beneficial for both parties, and it's very low risk, high reward for the Patriots. I think it's a good move, and I'm very, very happy they did it. So that's something I'm looking forward to, is seeing how Josh McDaniels adjusts the offense for Cam Newton. I think, like I said, don't win the division, but take a wild card spot. All right, so let's get on to baseball. Baseball, they came out with some stuff today, just showing that they're moving forward through this pandemic and all that stuff, and moving forward to start their 60-game season, which they also announced the opening game of the season will be a great game. Hopefully, at least it's a great matchup on paper, with Max Scherzer meeting the New York Yankees, and anytime you get to see Scherzer on the mound, it's good. It's something to watch. So I think that's gonna be fun to watch. I think it's gonna be a good game to open up the season and get people back into baseball. So that's good. I know there's been some players that come out and say, I don't want to play, which, like I said in my last podcast, I'm totally for. If you don't want to play, if you want to focus on what's going on with social justice, and you want to make the biggest impact that you feel in that community by not playing and focusing on that, good for you. If you want to not play because you have, a young child at home, or a child or a family member that's got, respiratory issues and struggles with this, and we know that that's what this attacks, good on you. I fully support that. So players like Ryan Zimmerman don't want to play. Players like Mike Leake from Arizona don't want to play. They're not. They came out today and said we're not going to play in the startup. Okay, I'm cool with that. Like, that's fine. But there's also been players like Anthony Rizzo, who, if you don't know, Anthony Rizzo is a cancer survivor, and he is in the high risk bracket of this whole thing. And he said, "I'm ready to play. Let's get back. Let's play some ball." And a lot of baseball players, I think, honestly, with everything that went on, all the bullshit over the last 2 months with their, them and the Players Association and the league, and how hostile that was, I think these players just want to come out and play. I think they just want to get back to baseball. I think they're tired of all the politics outside of baseball and the politics inside of baseball. They're just tired of it, and they want to play. So I think what's happening here is, they're excited to play, and that's good. That's good. Baseball's moving forward, which I'm so excited for. I love breaking down baseball. I love everything about baseball. It was my first love as a sport growing up. It's what I loved playing growing up, and I'm just so excited to see it finally coming back. To be honest with you, I'm so excited that it's coming back, and it's coming back in a big way in a 60 game sprint, and good for baseball, good for sports fans, good for to have another sport outside of UFC to watch live. And they said they're still on pace to make the return at the time they want to make the return. So that's all good. Good news out of baseball. With basketball, obviously, you're seeing a lot more players say they don't want to play for whatever the reasons are. They don't want to play. They don't want to start in the restart. I covered a couple last podcasts, Avery Bradley, Trevor Ariza, and more and more players have come out and said they don't want to play in the startup. Even after they released the schedule that they want to proceed forward with, a lot of players saying they don't want to play, and that's putting the basketball season in big jeopardy. And it's a tough go. The NBA is saying they're moving forward, but then you're seeing a lot of players, a lot more than baseball, say they don't want to play with with the concerns and the social justice. They just don't want to play, and like I said, it's completely their right. And so I just want to see with basketball what they're going to do, because they have a smaller roster. Baseball, you can pull from your farm system. You've got triple A, double A, single A, rookie ball, low A ball, rookie ball. You've got all these places to pull from that are part of your organization, so you're able to fill a roster that the NBA doesn't have. And so I think it's a big concern for basketball, and it's going to be intriguing going forward to see what happens as the season gets closer and closer every day. Baseball and basketball both with basketball, obviously it's a restart. Baseball, it's a startup. But every day you're getting closer and closer, and they're starting up around the same time. So it's going to be intriguing to see what happens going forward, 100%. So let's get into UFC 251. So UFC 251, obviously the headliner is Kara Usman versus Gilbert Burns, with a couple more title fights on the card, and it's 100% intriguing, and 100% it's a great main card. Main card stacks up with every other great card. It's going to be fun to watch, and UFC's been killing the game, and they continue to kill the game. Obviously, we've seen Fight Island is close to being ready, if not ready to go right now. So everything UFC is doing is just been, they've taken a bunch of steps forward and not a much, and barely any steps back. They've upped their coronavirus testing, and you saw last week some cornermen got caught up with it, and that canceled a fight. But they just moved forward and they adjusted, and they put out a very good card. The main event with Poirier, Dan Hooker is definitely fight of the year candidate. Both guys came out there and gave it their all. Hooker, obviously, in my opinion, I think he broke his nose early in the fight because you saw blood coming from the nose, open mouth, can't breathe from your nose, not good. You're gonna lose your gas very fast, and I think that's what happened with him and Poirier. And Poirier just was able to pour it on and kind of push forward. But both men took crazy punishment. Both guys are just so tough, and Poirier to return like that after such a long layoff with all the injuries that he received in that Khabib fight with the hip and the knee and all that, and the year and a half layoff, to come out looking like that, he's still a contender at 155. Khabib only wants to fight one or two more times, so there's a good possibility that 155 opens up very soon. So I think Poirier will still be there, and I think he's still a contender. I think he can beat anybody. Anybody can make a mistake in that octagon, and Poirier's still there, and he looked great. Hooker looked great too, though. Hooker's definitely an up-and-comer, and he's going to be a guy that you have to fear for a very long time. He's so long and so rangy, and he hits hard. His knee, he hits you with knees coming from all which directions. His striking is on par with anybody. He comes out of a great camp, and that was a great fight. And this UFC 251 it's not going to be any different. So let's start from bottom to top. All right. And like I said, I'm very good at picking these cards, especially the main card. I'm like over 80%. So let's break it down. All right. To start it off, Amanda Ribas versus Paige VanZant. And if you don't know, Amanda Ribas, great up-and-comer. She's got a lot of talent. This is going to be another step up in competition for her, fighting the likes of Paige VanZant, who, through all the injuries and the arm, and breaking her arm, and the surgeries, the botch surgeries, and all the time off, she's been, she comes to fight, and if you make mistakes, she's gonna beat you. So this is a big fight for both of them. Paige VanZant coming off another long layoff, and Amanda Ribas taking a step up in competition. But I think Ribas takes the victory here. I think you have to think all the injuries and all the time out of training are going to affect Paige VanZant at some point, and I think we're at that point. I just don't. I think that all that time off is just it's finally going to catch up to Paige VanZant, and I think Ribas is going to win this fight. All right, let's get on to the next one. It's a rematch, one of a couple on the card. It's a rematch, Jessica Andrade versus Thug Rose. I'm not going to even attempt her last name. I always botch it, so I'm not going to attempt it. Thug Rose versus Andrade. We've seen it before for the title, and if you remember right, if you were watching that fight, Thug Rose was controlling the fight with her stand-up and completely, in my opinion, outclassing Jessica Andrade. But Jessica Andrade spiked Thug Rose on her head and knocked her out. So, with this one, I think Thug Rose is going to make the adjustments. She's going to avoid the takedown a little bit better. I mean, she was doing fine. Everything was in that fight was going her way, and I think this fight's going to be exactly the same. I think Thug Rose gets an early stoppage in this fight. I'm going to go by second round TKO, and I just think Thug Rose has got too much for Jessica Andrade. Her striking game is going to be too much, and she's going to win this fight very convincingly by second round stoppage. So on to the next, the first of the three title fights. Now, 135, obviously without a champion, due to the fact that Henry Cejudo dropped the title, and so he's gone. They need a new 135-pound champion. Dana White did not waste any time, and he got Peter Yan, the young savage, to go up against the longtime king of 145, Jose Aldo. And you remember Jose Aldo has fought at 135 recently versus Marlon Moraes and lost a split decision. And a lot of people's opinions, including mine, I thought Jose Aldo actually won that fight. So they're giving him the title shot. A lot of pushback. Aljamain Sterling's pissed off, and there's a lot of people pissed off about it at 135, and rightfully so. But this is what we get. So we get Peter Yan versus Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo obviously has amazing stand-up and great technique and hits hard. But Peter Yan, the ass whooping that man put on Uriah Faber, I don't think it's going to be any different against Jose Aldo, to be honest with you. I think Peter Yan is just the next great 135-pound fighter. I think he's going to be one of the next great fighters. He's just so fast and strong, and he's age is on his side compared to Jose Aldo, and I think Jose Aldo is just not going to have enough weapons in the arsenal to stop Peter Yan from, just working him over. To be honest with you, I think Peter Yan's going to make this very convincingly. Jose Aldo's a hard guy to put away. He's a hard guy to finish. Outside of the one-punch knockout against Conor McGregor, he's been notoriously hard to finish, and I think this is going to be a third-round finish, though, for Peter Yan. I think Peter Yan's going to just pour it on and put it on Jose Aldo and just kind of wear him down and finish him in the third round, in my opinion. So that's my pick, Peter Yan, third round, TKO against Jose Aldo. All right, co-main, another rematch. Alexander Volkanovski, the 145-pound champion, versus Max Holloway, the longtime king of 145, and what a lot of people consider, including myself, to be the greatest 145-pound fighter of all time, Max Holloway. He's definitely one of the greatest fighters we've ever seen to step foot into the octagon, and he fought in the last fight. This is an instantaneous rematch. In the last fight, Volkanovski was able to use these leg kicks and to really get Max Holloway out of his game plan. Max Holloway's a guy that doesn't really change his game plan. He always looks to fight his fight in every fight and make the other fighter adjust to him. Well, in the last fight with the leg kicks and the way that Volkanovski was really throwing those powerful leg kicks, Max was not able to fight his fight at all. And you saw that, and Volkanovski fought a perfect fight and got a nice decision win. And I think this fight will be closer. It will be more of a war. I think Max Holloway will make adjustments, hopefully start checking some of those leg kicks. I think he will have more moments in this fight. It will be a close fight. It's going to be a very close fight, in my opinion. But I think Volkanovski takes it. I think Volkanovski's going to take this. He will win 3 of the 5 rounds, and he will win by unanimous decision. But Max is Max is a tough out for anybody. He's a tough fight for anybody, including Volkanovski. And Volkanovski's, if he wants to be considered the 145-pound champion, he needs to make this he needs to make this as decisive as possible. But Max Holloway's so tough, man. He's got that BJ Penn prime chin. He's a Hawaii boy that just loves to scrap, and he makes everything a war. And I think this is going to be a war, and it's going to be a great fight. But Volkanovski will win by unanimous decision. Let's move on to the main event. You've got Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns. So this fight was supposed to be Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal. But with Masvidal and the UFC not agreeing on a contract or seeing fit on a contract, even though Masvidal is under contract right now, but he wants to get paid more, they moved on to Gilbert Burns, and they moved on quick. And like I said in my last podcast, that's the problem with all these guys complaining about fighter pay, is there's always another fighter willing to step up and make a fight. And as long as UFCs can fill cards, they're not going to worry about fighter pay. They don't need to. Why? I can still put on ridiculous cards. I can still have 3 title fights on one card. So why do I need to worry about fighter pay? Why do I need to adjust my business model? I don't. So, but let's get on to the fight. Gilbert Burns obviously coming off a huge win against Tyron Woodley, the former 170 pound champion, and Gilbert Burns outclassed him. I mean, he had a 10-8 round in there. He just battered him for 5 rounds and really showed out. Very recently, it's a quick turnaround for Gilbert Burns, and but I think that something that helped with Gilbert Burns coming back so quick is the fact that he's trained with Usman for so long that he feels like, I know this guy inside and out. I know how to beat him. I'm going to go out and beat him. So that's why he's in shape. He didn't take a lot of punishment versus Woodley at all. He's as healthy as he's going to be, and he gets to fight Kara Usman. Usman now made an adjustment. Usually, when you see guys that are in the same camp, the challenger is the one that has to leave the camp and go somewhere else because the champion's gym is the champion's gym. But in this case, Kara Usman goes, no, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go get some a different voice in my ear, some different training, and adjust and make some adjustments that you're not gonna see coming. And I think that's the smart move, to be honest with you, because Usman, he didn't go to, you know, Greg Jackson or anything like that. He went to Trevor Whitman in Colorado. Now, if you guys remember, Trevor Whitman is the trainer of Justin Gaethje, but Trevor Whitman goes back so much farther than just Justin Gaethje. Trevor Whitman's been in this game for years, and the way that he trains fighters is different from anybody else in the sport. And that's something that Carl Usman, I think he thinks he needs, is somebody with a different approach for this fight so that he can surprise Gilbert Burns a little bit and make adjustments that Gilbert Burns is not going to see coming. And the coach to do it is definitely, in my opinion, 100% Trevor Whitman. Trevor Whitman's been in this game for 4 years. I know we're all getting or a lot of, if you're new to the fight game, you're getting introduced, but a lot of us are getting reintroduced to Trevor Whitman and how good he is with what Gaethje's doing. But Trevor Whitman's been in this game and trained a lot of champions, man. A lot of champions. So Kara Usman going down to Colorado, higher elevation training and all that stuff is going to be great. Trevor Whitman does not change you as a fighter. Whatever you are, that's what you stay. He just makes minor adjustments to make you a better version of yourself. So like in Justin Gaethje's instance, right? Justin Gaethje has always been a brawler. Oh, since he stepped foot in the fight game, he's always been a brawler. And that did not change when he stepped into the UFC. He's always been a guy that wants to go out and give the fans either a highlight knockout or a fight of the year. That's what he wants to do. Now, and he's always been with Whitman. And when they took a step up in competition, moving to the UFC, that didn't change. He got knocked out a few times. He's taken some losses in the UFC, but what you saw when they made an adjustment to go towards that title push and kind of move away from, let's go for just the greatest fight I can put out there. Let's go to win. They made an adjustment. You saw it in the Ferguson fight. Instead of going out there and throwing 100% and giving you just 15 minutes of fury, let's go out there. Let's take 10% off our punches. Let's throw a little cleaner, but let's not get away from our combos. Let's throw a little cleaner, and then I can carry my power into the 4th and 5th round. And that's what you saw to Gaethje. No one, including myself, thought you were going to see Gaethje be able to do that for 5 rounds, what he did to Ferguson. And I was wrong, 100%. He carried that power into the 5th. He carried his cardio into the 5th. Trevor Whitman made adjustments, told him to take 10 to 15% off what he was throwing, and then you were able to carry gas into the tank into the 5th round. Now, how is that going to go with Usman? I don't know, because what does that mean? When you first saw Usman in the UFC off a tough, what you first saw was Usman was a guy that was going to wrestle you and pound you into the ground with ground and pound. Now, we've seen some highlight knockouts now, and you've seen that Usman has incredible power. So what is Whitman going to do? What is he going to, what is he going to change just a little bit? What parts of his game is he going to just kind of tweak to make Usman a different fighter and a better fighter? I don't know. That's what makes women so great. So, but I think, in my opinion, with how great Gilbert Burns is on the ground and all his grappling accolades that he has, I think they're going to adjust the his stand up game just a little bit, but not take away the threat of the takedowns. I think what you're going to see is Usman push Gilbert Burns up against the fence, wear him down, make him carry that weight, make him carry that size because Usman's so big at 170. Push him against the fence, carry the weight, and then when he's ready, drag him to the ground in on the cage with his head pressed up against the cage. Because you get Gilbert Burns on the ground in the middle of the octagon, and now he can move his hips. He's got movement. He can use his jiu-jitsu. He can use what he's so good at in the ground game. Use his transitions, his sweeps, and all that. All that's utilized. As soon as you are taken down and your head's pressed up against the cage and you can't move your hips, all that goes away. And then the big, strong wrestler that is Usman can just pound you out. And I think that's that's the game plan, is to take him down in the corner. Not take him down in the middle of the octagon. Take him down in the corner and just wear him out and just make him carry that weight for 5 rounds. And how is Burns going to adjust to that? Because in the Woodley fight, Burns was able to push forward and establish his range, establish his punches, establish his combos, but stay away from the blitz that is Tyron Woodley's game plan. And then he was just able to just, wear him down. And then the more you wear Woodley down, the less scared his blitz is, because the slower it comes, the less power it has on it. Now, with Usman, I think Usman's going to push forward and he's going to wear Gilbert Burns out and he's going to just punish him on the cage. I think Usman wins this one. And I think, in my opinion, even though Gilbert Burns is more active, that will play a little bit of a part. I think Gilbert Burns wins like the first round, takes an early round from him, but I think Usman and Whitman will make an adjustment. And I think what you will see is Usman winning the last 4 rounds and winning by unanimous decision. I don't think he finishes Gilbert Burns. A lot of times in fights like this where you see guys from the same camp that don't hate each other, these guys are, admittedly really good friends. You don't see a lot of finishes. It takes a lot for these guys to get out of the mindset of training. Like it's a sparring session. I don't think you'll see that. These are 2 high-level fighters. But what I think you will see, I don't think that I think both guys just know how dangerous the other one is, so they won't take the huge risks. So there just won't be a finish. I think Usman wins 4-1 rounds-wise and wins by unanimous decision. So, like I said, Ribas, Thug Rose, Volkanovski, and I'm missing one. Wait a minute. Oh, and Peter Yan. And then Usman. Those are my picks. So bookmark it. Hold me to it. Make sure you comment. If I pick like shit, make sure you comment and be like, what happened there? Okay? And we will follow along together for these fights. Okay? I will make sure I have these fights. I will on my page, the Wire to Wire page. We will follow it together and we will comment together, and fights are always fun. So anything you guys want to listen to in the next episode, I will be doing more of these. I know I took a couple week break. I addressed that last week. I'm going to try to up this to 2 or 3 times a week. So please get involved. Whatever you want me to cover, comment, ask questions. Something pops up on ESPN or FS1 or whatever you're watching, throw it my way. I will break it down. I might have one long episode a week and then have a couple shorter episodes just to address like maybe one thing that pops up while I'm watching sports, because that's all I do. And then I will address it in like a short video. And then I will continue my random thoughts of the day. But get involved. Ask me questions. Anything you guys want to listen to, I'm more than happy to cover. So ask me questions. Thank you guys for listening. Enjoy the rest of your the rest of your week. And I'll see you guys again real soon. Thank you for listening.